the point where we got to last week was yoke in place, facings stitched together, and we prepped the collar. Hopefully most of you... If I sewed it, we did it, because this is your blouse. This is your class's blouse.
It's sewn in, right?
What?
It's sewn in the facing.
Pressed on into
Oh, it's pressed on.
We didn't stitch the face. Yeah, this is the sample. Yeah, this is my sample.
Alright, sorry.
Do you have a video?
I loaded it up on YouTube so everyone could put it on now.
What's the name of the new
Now wait, which is my better side?
Whichever side you desire.
Okay.
Actually, your hands are mostly on.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I can't get you all.
Okay, so our collar is prepped as such, where you're stitching it together on the larger outside edge and the two sides. Remember that the top collar is a little bigger, so you line up the outer edge, and on the sides, you might have to stretch it a little bit to make it fit. But what will wind up happening is that the lower edge, the under collar will shift down a little bit. So when you go to press it, you actually get this little turn back on the seam, so it rolls underneath, which is exactly what you want. Once you've turned it and clipped the corners using your chopstick and or whatever device, there are three notch points on the neckline edge of the collar. There's a triple notch in the middle for the center back of the blouse, and then there are two on either side. The two on the either side will align with the shoulder seam when we get to applying that. So what you need to do is between those two outer notches, measure up from your raw edge on the top collar piece, which is the piece that has been fused. Measure up a 1/2 inch, chalk line in a 1/2 inch, and then press that 1/2 inch up. After you have clipped up to that 1/2 inch mark, turn and press that up so that it looks like this. No. Well, yeah. No. Clip only at the notch point. Clip only on the top collar up to that 1/2 inch point, and then fold it back like this. Once it's folded back and pressed, do an edge stitch on the outer two sides of the collar. So on either side of that opening that we have for the neckline, edge stitch to keep the collar in place. All right? Everyone got a good look at that? Okay. So that's our collar prepped and ready to go. Now, our blouse, we have our facings attached. The facings should be, you can press them open flat, like that. All right. And now we're ready to apply the collar. Actually, before we apply the collar, let's finish the raw edge of the facing. There are a couple of different ways that you can do this. You certainly could do it on the serger, but for the fact that we have done French seams on the blouse, a little finer finish would be to do a turn and stitch edge on the raw edge of the facing. So before I do that, I want to take the raw edge and just trim away any loose threads that I might have. And also, if your interfacing has sort of lapped over the edge a little bit, trim that out. So once you have that trimmed out and it's clean finished, we're going to take that raw edge and we're going to turn it back 1/4 inch and stitch. So starting at the bottom, turn it back 1/4 inch fold. And you can stitch right in the middle of that fold. And then just keep turning as you stitch. So just keep folding 1/4 inch. go slow with it, and that way it'll keep you accurate in terms of the width of that fold. Just try to keep it consistent the whole length. So we have now just clean finished the outer edge of the face. All right, at this point you can take it and press it. Let me just quickly do the other one. No need to back tag or anything, because we're going to catch that seam at the top into the shoulder line and at the bottom in the hem. Oh my God.
You don't miss a minute.
Pathetic. I need a big old magnifying glass for this. You know, I'm okay in the morning, but I hit like 5:30.
Crash.
It's over.
Going on.
It just went off with my attempted speed. It's good to screw up once in a while.
You're human.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Oh, the teacher's fallible. That's good. Okay, done. We take it to the ironing board and press it. All right, so we are ready to set our collar. Okay. So we've taken the collar and the side, the under collar, or the side that has no fusing and has that the full edge of the neckline. We're going to line that up with the center of the yoke at the neckline. We're going to pin right in the center. So again, there's those 3 notches on the collar, and you line that up with the center notch at the back neckline on the yoke. Oh, and before you do that, if you'll notice on the yoke, we have 2 layers of the yoke because it's self-enclosed and self-lined. Do an edge stitch on the neckline edge of the yoke to keep those 2 layers together so that as you're stitching, nothing will shift. So just starting at the one end of the shoulder line, just stitch right along the edge just to keep those 2 layers together. And again, anytime you're doing an edge stitch or any kind of a stitch to keep something in place, you ultimately are going to be sewing a seam beyond that, so there's no need to do any tying off or back stitching or anything like that. So just an edge stitch, clip your threads, and you're done. But that keeps the 2 layers of the yoke together. So we take the center notch mark on the neckline and we line the lower collar or the under collar, which has the triple notches, line that up. Then the notches that we have on either side where we turned up that 1/2 inch, that we're going to line up with the shoulder line. Now, the shoulder seam. Yeah, this is the shoulder seam on the yoke. Right. So line that up. Now, this is a little, I don't want to throw you, but I'll throw you. If you go to line that notch up with the shoulder line, you don't want to line up the edge because you're not sewing the edge. Where you're sewing is a 1/2 inch below that. You're sewing on your 1/2 inch seam allowance. So when you line that notch mark up with the shoulder line, you actually want to line up 1/2 inch below the edge with the shoulder line. So you can take a pin and poke through right where that notch ends at the 1/2 inch mark.